Hello, guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. And today we're going to be doing another episode of our Prehistoric Kingdom devlog showcase. And this will probably be one of the last, if not the last, dev diary or showcase development update that we'll probably see. But it is being replaced by something else, so we'll get into that. So let's get started. So, welcome to September's development update. As we push onto the closed beta December 6th and early access in 2022, it's time for our monthly blog post saw some changes. So there's going to be some big changes. Once we launch beta, Prehistoric Kingdom will essentially be a live game. Because of this, there'll need to be some alterations to how we communicate and post our news, not just to deliver information you're interested in, but for us to effectively show new developments when they've locked in and ready to present. To help the team achieve this, we'll be creating two types of news updates, dev diaries and feature spotlights. So kind of similar to Jurassic World Evolution, they kind of have these like species things that have dev diaries and things. Not too different, quite similar, just that kind of way. So let's have a look at the dev diary. So a dev diary includes development insight, community spotlight, and any social media news you might have missed, along with arriving on a monthly basis. They will be replacing the previous devlogs. We intend for these to act as a very casual way to keep fans and followers in the loop, discussing what we've been up to and what we plan to tackle next. So yeah, not too different from devlogs themselves. It's just going to be kind of just rounding up the news for the month, which is still pretty good. And it also should be noted they usually won't contain any bombshell information will instead be an outlet for us to cover more long-form topics, whether they're development interviews, technical insight, tweaks and changes, or non-spoiler content. So by separating a status update from big reveals, it gives us more of an opportunity to maintain consistent communication with the community. While working on big updates to or content reveals, especially post-launch. So it's kind of being replaced. Instead of having these devlogs where we have a bunch of different things kind of set out for us during the month, what it's going to be is there's going to be the dev diary, which kind of takes a feature or something they'll expand on. I'll compare it to Jurassic World Evolution 2 that's been recently. So like you had the one that recently came out with the accurate simulator, where they talk about different concepts and talk about with the community different information topics and things. So it's going to be very similar like that. Maybe not in a video style, but still like a blog post. And then they'll do like a monthly roundup to pretty much go over that. And then you'll have, as you see here, the feature spotlight. So feature spotlights include previews for upcoming editions and content discussed separately within their own posts to clarify for clarity and accessibility. They could be a glimpse into an impending update, a deep dive into a brand new system, or improvements that we're keen to show off. So, yeah, it's just focus on a feature. So if we do that, if we use Jurassic World Evolution 2 for a recent example, since we've been looking at that, you would have the kind of like they're showing off the park manager, and then they're showing off the scientists and things like that. Those kind of little videos is kind of basically this kind of version. So yeah, pretty interesting regardless. So unlike the dev diaries, these don't have a set schedule or frequency and will appear only when they're ready. So it's sort of like a surprise party, but with the bad wordplay and over-enthusiastic paragraphs smashing. So yeah, I think that's going to be really, really cool. So we're going to have, basically, if there's a big update that's ready, they'll show it off to us as soon as it's ready, so it can pop up anytime. So I think that's pretty cool. So now we're going to get into the development diary. This is kind of showing off the format. So we've got the animals. So apparently, animal locomotion has seen a lot of development across September, and many changes and improvements thanks to one of our programmers, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Creatures, especially large prehistoric ones, present a difficult challenge to overcome in video games, as you ideally want to respect their physicality and animation, while ensuring that they can get to their destination. So when developing their AI, we need them to reach very specific targets and stopping points like feeders, the edge of a lake, and hopefully not ram through the fences. So Alpha was quite limited in what the creatures could do, so an imprecise movements was an enormous concern for the time being. the mini faces were smashing fences. I have seen some people that have the beta and they've kind of been animals walking through fences. Of course, it's just a general bug sometimes. It's alpha, that's kind of what you expect. But looks like there have been some improvements in that regard. So features like variable travel speed, foot locking, and foot repositioning are just some of the additions that were made as part of our ongoing R&D efforts to benefit the animal's AI and pathfinding. So developing a complex system of units as big as dinosaurs is no small task, but it's definitely coming along. And then we have this wonderful picture of a Tyrannosaurus. Looks really, really nice. So basically just a lot of tune-ups to make the dinosaurs walk and move realistically, because obviously that's probably one of the biggest sells. If you want to create animals that feel real, and Planet Zoo is kind of like the benchmark at the moment. You want to create animals that feel real and have weight and realistic movements and things, and because that really sells the immersion of the game. So yeah, still really, really cool regardless. Really love this T-Rex. I just love the round boy. Awesome. And then we can see the meat there. Yucky. But yummy for a T-Rex. So now we have a look at the guests. So for patrons of your park, we'll soon be working on guest needs. So visitor welfare is an important part of any world-class zoo, and as such, we're trying to strive the right balance between detailed simulation and optimized solutions. So, though we can't delve into our plans too much, we are very excited to explore more prehistoric kingdoms and management and crowd simulation. So that's going to be very, very cool. So, of course, animal welfare is important, but also the guests. So the guests bring the money in. So you got to make sure that there's places for them to see. They can see the animals well fed. Of course, it's like another thing to manage. You got to manage the animals, and you got to manage the guests. You got to manage the staff as well. That's just part of running a zoo. And it's cool that they're expanding on that as well. Just creates so many management things. And yes, we know that guests look a bit terrifying. Of course they do. We fully intend to make them beautiful and lively, but our resources are very much focused on the online mechanics and gameplay for the time being. So of course, you want to get the core mechanics. You gotta have a good foundation before you build the house. And this is kind of that example. You want to make sure the guests are working as intended, and then you can make them nicer with the resources that you have. So really, it's just getting that foundation. You've got to get a good foundation before you build the house. So this is what they're kind of doing with the game. Good analogy. And then we've got another bit for modular building. So Point Snap. So Point Snap is a new quality of life feature coming to the modular system in beta. When toggled on, players can snap any non-wall or roof item to 9 different points along a grid tile. So that's pretty interesting. Intended for quickly adding objects like beams and pillars around a build, this tool gives you grid perfect placement for those moments of needed precision. That's good. And creative accessibility is important, and we'll continue to add similar features in the future. And of course, grids aren't exactly your thing. Every item in Prehistoric Kingdom can be placed freely. Now that is good. This is very interesting, because we'll have a look here. So there will be only like that, but you can see the points. So if you have you want to put a beam somewhere, you can make it connect to a certain point, so you can make it precision. I think this is going to be a really easy tool for making building easy. See, that's like the big thing with Prehistoric Kingdom that I love. It's got pretty much the same intensive building as Planet Zoo, but it's simplified in a way that's very easy to access. So I'm in love with that. So it's not going through different menus and selecting things. It's all just making it as easy as possible for the player to create complex things, and I think this is a really good way to step forward, so you don't have to meticulously measure. You can just click it on, and then they will snap to these points at these perfect angles, so you can see, you can basically, if you have if you're creating like a veranda or something, there's a roof piece here, and you want to connect it from the top left corner to the top right corner, you can just go boom, and they will snap perfectly. You don't need to measure it. So I think that's a very, very great addition, and I love it. And now we've got a little bit of tech talk. So on a more technical note, the rendering of our modular system is now fully built into GPU instancing, so like the painted trees. This means that repeated objects do not cost additional draw cards on the GPU, so that doesn't affect your graphics card, offering huge performance savings on large parks, so pretty much just makes it run a little bit smoother, so that's always awesome. We're also currently working on support for modular prefabs, and you can imagine the necessity for supporting thousands of pieces at a time. especially if you make it a humongous zoo. And speaking of technical features, the long-awaited undo and redo actions have been added to the game. So only terrain, water, and the modular system support it at the moment, but they'll be sure to expand it on uh, other mechanics before the beta's launch. And you can see this GIF here, messing around with the water and the terrain, so that basically you could do it, undo it, and then do it again and undo it. So yeah, pretty awesome. So that's really going to help with a lot of building. Also, the game uses a variable memory cache that keeps track of all your actions, discarding the oldest changes once that limit fills up. And since they can retain a lot of data, the player could just hold down the undo/redo keys to cycle through all their remembered actions rather than constantly tapping. So you can kind of just hold it down and then go back and see, oh, I liked it better when it was this way, so you can build off that. So it's always changes and updates. I think that's very, very awesome. And it'll be cool to see how that's expanded. And then we've got our news roundup. So in case you missed it, we've released the beta announcement trailer at Gamescon in August. You can find a whole bunch of information. We've already gone through this. And then we have the community spotlight. So this is awesome. So we've got this wonderful sketch. This was done by Dino Art or Manuel Goso 2702. So this was some really nice art. I really love the variation. I love the. Actually, really do like the naked Dinocaris, and it's cool that we have variation within that as well. Plausible speculation, no different than the woolly packy. Very, very nice. And then we can see this was made by Swoop there. Really nice interest. This reminds me of like Australia Zoo. I just love this car park. I really like that we can make a car park. When I get hold of it, I want to make like a big car park and do all these things. It's going to be awesome. Really nice entrance as well. Looks very modern. Big fan. And yeah, that's about it for today. So thank you for reading September's Dev Diary. Hopefully you're very excited to see more from us for the next couple of months. Until next time, the PK team. So, yeah, a nice little recap. Not as meaty as some of the devlogs or dev diaries that we've had in the past. Still really, really nice regardless, and it'd be cool that we're getting these diaries and these feature focuses as it kind of updates, because before it was just kind of just adding features and things. Now we're really starting to see progress happen, so I'm really, really happy with that. Can't wait for it's December 6th, I think it is, yep. December 6th, where we get our hands on the beta, and it'll be very fun to play with all the different animals. So yeah, I think this would be a good place to end it here. So I really, really, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Always remember to hit the little bell icon to get notified when I upload anything. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.